I'm not sure how to answer that.
Is it like saying it's okay?
Education. I don't really know, I haven't really been taught it very much at school.
Firstly, glue them into our box, and we're going to answer these two questions down the bottom. So at Wellington East Girls College, in our junior health program, we briefly touch on consent, but it's only very brief, and it's mainly just looking at the law and the legal age of consent for students, and making sure that the girls know that the legal age is 16, and if you're under 16 then it's an illegal act to do. So but that's pretty much all we do in terms of consent.
The World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts has launched a global campaign called Stop the Violence, Speak Out for Girls' Rights, and it's all about helping girls learn about their rights around violence and keeping themselves safe and being in healthy relationships. It aims to give them skills and information that they can take out into the world. Consent is a big topic, and it can be really hard to know what's good information and what's not, and so I feel that we really have a place to help girls to have access to good information. We offer girls a safe space so they can consider this topic for themselves and provide them with resources. Our session aims to try and help them to understand the topic, what gaining consent means, what giving consent means, what that whole process is about, and a lot of them come up to me afterwards and say, that was really awesome, we don't have any other opportunity to really consider this topic.
Some girls that are frigid, born that way. You get some who are oversexed, born that way. You get some with just the right amount of sex in them. They can't help it, born that way.
The beauty of this play is it's actually really explicit and straightforward in how it addresses those issues.
I hope they don't see it as historicised, this era, and then leave it at that. I hope they do see it as reflected back on our society now, and I think we've made that connection with obviously the Roastbusters case and this this new ACC drive for sexual prevention.
There might be people that will get upset, parents that might come in, or people in the community that might go, how could they get teenagers to do this? But when I watch it, and I think sometimes I go, oh, look at the stuff they're dealing with, but then I think, what are they doing on the weekends? Like we're patronising them, as you say, by not addressing these issues.
Nash Bradley Head Smart Committee.
I think what's really clever about this play is it's actually changed the attitudes of the people within the cast, and that's quite a significant thing, because the way that rape culture works in New Zealand is it sort of is something which is swept under the rug. We had a conversation a few weeks ago, and you could see the way that the people within the cast are forced to engage with the thematic concern of the playwright. So when they begin to engage with it, like I've personally seen changes in how people view and talk about rape culture.
It's all about the intercourses, Jack.
After we had the discussion the other day with Sharon, one boy stood up and thanked us and said he'd never had the opportunity to discuss those issues at all properly, and absolutely never with girls.
And the fact that as grown men, at that age, that's the first time that they've been able to have that conversation, that's really concerning. Why is it not in all schools?
When they would have had so many conversations about sex and genitals and masturbation and all this, but they wouldn't have ever had it
in that way, in
a way that is informed.
Yeah. And then like look at it like, oh, you just received the paper. Yeah? And then, oh! And then out.
We've tried quite hard not to make the characters who behave badly villains. So with the Dennis Tucker scene, when he rapes Rosa, that's he's doing what he thinks he ought to be doing and what she wants, and he's behaving in the big male way as the leader of the pack. I don't think he sees it as rape, even though it absolutely is. And I think that so often is the case, is that men just... And when I was discussing this with students the other day, and they said, well, that's just a misunderstanding. I was like, maybe, but that's got pretty serious consequences. I think with sex education and consent education, it's about communication, you know, which is what that no is not saying yes, or it's saying we've been drinking, or I'm tired, or we probably shouldn't. Those are all the things that mean no.
You know, too wide, but then again, like, yeah, it is.
I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Bella.
And we set up a group called Feminist, which is basically a school feminist club that meets once a week on Friday lunchtimes. So the reason we set up the group was because we were noticing that there was a lot of issues that weren't being discussed at school.
Stuff that wasn't like brought up in the school curriculum, but we thought was really important for people to be educated about.
We've brought up consent a few times, had sort of sessions where we've discussed it. I think people have a lot to say on it, but they weren't really given the space to talk about it, and it's an important thing that does affect people throughout their lives and throughout their different relationships and things.
Especially as teenage girls, I think it's just like a huge thing, and it's not really talked about that much by anyone.
And to be told directly, like, you have the power to say what you want to happen to your own body, it's your choice completely, is like, it shouldn't be something that needs to be said, but it does.
Having like student leaders of the feminist group makes it so much more kind of easy for girls, especially like the younger girls, to share their opinions and share what they want to say and not feel as if anyone is judging them, because we're like the same as them.
It's very different to having like a teacher telling you what's right. It's more people giving you what their experiences are, and it's proven really effective and like a good place to talk about it.
I know what sexual consent is.
I know what sexual consent is.
I know what sexual consent is.